We may be out of the woods, but we're not out of the woods yet. The latest Evil Dead installment, Evil Dead Rise, gives you exactly what you want, while also some new things. In Evil Dead Rise, we follow Beth, who, after receiving some pretty big news, decides to visit her estranged sister, Ellie, and her 3 kids, Danny, Bridget, and Cassie. After a new Book of the Dead is discovered, in the most unusual of places, underneath the apartment complex, Danny takes an interest in it and reads from it, unleashing the Deadites, which results in Ellie getting possessed. So now, Beth has to protect her nieces and nephew from their evil mother and whatever new horrors unfold. Following the cancellation of the show, Ash vs. Evil Dead, as well as Bruce Campbell retiring from the character, Sam Raimi mentioned that he had a few ideas for a new Evil Dead movie, whether it was continuing the story of Ash or focusing on something entirely new. He later handpicked Lee Cronin to write and direct a brand new movie based on his own pitch of setting an Evil Dead movie in a high-rise apartment. The sisters Beth and Ellie are our new characters now, and when we see them, we can tell that they've had some kind of falling out over the years, and there's still some kind of resentment between the two. However, in their scenes together, you can also tell that there is an effort that they want to make up. They really want to repair their relationship, especially because Beth now has some life-changing news. She might be becoming a mother soon, and wants to confide that in her sister. Once evil Ellie takes over, though, it's very easy for her to turn everything she knows against her sister. It's just like any other Deadite, they really love tormenting their victims both physically and emotionally. And the actor, Alyssa Sutherland, looks like she's having the time of her life, just being this nasty, evil creature, even calling her own kids leeches and parasites. There definitely seems to be like a theme of motherhood in this. And having kids in the movie, that's something that we actually haven't really seen in these Evil Dead movies. We don't really get kids, and here we got some good siblings, especially the youngest one, Cassie. You feel bad for all of these kids, having to witness their mother dying and then be reanimated and trying to kill them. In most horror movies, the kids don't get hurt, but this is Evil Dead, like, nobody's safe. This movie's closer in tone with the remake because it's more serious, but when it comes to the gore, it is similar to Evil Dead 2. It's got like that same energy, which every brutal kill kind of acting as like a sick punchline. And you also get to see a lot of the trademarks from the series. You get your chainsaw, you get a shotgun, you get a flying eyeball, but you also get some new stuff like the cheese grater, eating glass, a drone to the face, a lot of great stuff, scissors up the nose, So yeah, the gore and the effects are great in this. In the final fight, we get to see a brand new creature, something new and original, that also, I think, is meant to represent the turmoil that Beth feels, like the hesitation of becoming a mother and pregnancy. A very gross and literal interpretation. It's very classic Evil Dead, but it's also the kind of thing that elevates the series. It always keeps changing, it always keeps improving. The word reboot gets misused a lot, and I don't think that's what this is. This isn't a reboot, because a reboot erases everything and kind of starts over. And this movie doesn't erase anything, it doesn't avow anything we've seen before, it's just a standalone sequel, because it builds on everything. And a lot of the Evil Dead movies have kind of done that. From the beginning, everything's always been escalating. Army of Darkness, totally different than the first 2 Evil Deads, and the show, Ash vs. Evil Dead, has a lot of new characters, new locations, and a lot of new villains, new things that the book can do. And this movie, even though we're not in the woods anymore, even though there's no Ash, we still are in a very isolated location, a very dilapidated apartment complex that's falling apart. and we still have 5 characters who have to come together to face off all these evil things. As for the future, Bruce Campbell has said that they are making more Evil Dead movies. They're working on a plan, and Lee Cronin did say he wanted to make a direct sequel to this one. I am a big fan of Evil Dead. I would love to see more movies. I don't know where else they could go, but I am excited to see what they do, as long as Sam Raimi, Robert Tappert, and Bruce Campbell are still involved. They've been there from the beginning. They've been there every step of the way. They won't let there be a bad Evil Dead anything. So whatever they want to do, I have full faith in them. If you think about it like this, at the end of the first Evil Dead, Ash technically dies, and Evil Dead 2 is a requel, and then everything after Evil Dead 2 is Army of Darkness and Ash vs. Evil Dead. But the 2013 remake, it is the same cabin as the very first movie, and the car is in the same place. And in the first movie it was called the Naturom de Monto, and in Evil Dead 2 was the Necronomicon Ex Mortis. And in the remake it was also called Naturom de Monto. And in this movie it's called Naturom de Monto. So it's like there's 2 different timelines. So it makes sense why Ash isn't in this movie. Besides, he was already in the future at the end of Ash vs. Evil Dead. So yeah, it would make no sense for him to be in this movie.